I didn't have a coach to show me how to develop my philosophy or personal kind of teachings. Literally everyone in the world was my teacher. So everything around me is my teacher. I didn't separate anything from anything to learn from. And that's basically where the core philosophy comes in, is about being the bridge between literally anyone in the world, any place that can do this kind of things for themselves and improve their situation through their lives. For me, it's been very, really interesting life. And I'm no different than any other human being. Obviously, we move around the world if you're lucky. So in my case, I would say I was a bit lucky to be able to move around the world and to experience different parts of the world. When I was 14, literally, I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone, see the world and see the world different way. I was only 14 and a half, 15 years old. And I didn't know where I'm going. There's absolutely no plan, no nothing, no map, no money. And I just went to the kiss my mama, says, I'm going to stay with my friends. And please do not go report me to police or anything. I'm not lost. I will be back. And then I went to the harbor, just jump on the ferry. I didn't know where it's going. Literally, I didn't know anything.
Actually, there is a little bit different trend, and I know several communities, like in Portugal, eco-living outside of the city, creating your own living space with like-minded people. At least it's what they try to do.
Yeah, like in Portugal, we have a couple of projects like that, and I really like them. And I think instead of having a that expat shutdown community scenario that a lot of places experimenting, experiencing, like in Portugal, in Europe, in US, there's other places around the world. But I believe that eco movement of sharing things together is the way. And so far in Portugal, we have the projects really doing well, like people moving into the land to share the knowledge and experience, expertise, life, basically laugh and a joke together and build things together. There's eco living and a healthy living, all that kind of setups. Portugal is definitely one of the, you could say, one of the European leading countries that at least has two, three. I think it's becoming third one will gonna be activated sometimes end of the summer. That is one is about 20 kilometers away from me. Is basically eco villages. Everybody's help each other. Everybody's plant something. Everybody use the land. Everybody share things. And lots of the stuff that I personally been and experiencing in there, that's how we should live as a community when you're moving one place to the other. And you should not shut yourself out away from the community that exists there, but you should create something that you could invite them into experience. We don't want to say, hey, all the Portuguese people, leave your house, come live with us. But really, no, it's leave the gate open, let them come and experiment and experience with you. And that's what this Portugal eco living, eco movement is doing. And I'm really hopeful, and this will scale up more and more places in the world.
Are you connected with them?
I connect with them. I do go and I do help out. I do introduce new people to this kind of wave stuff. I really didn't want to go and live in the expat community that is close gated community and to shut myself from the actual people that who lives in the land for thousands of years. So I didn't want to do that. So I went directly to buy places in a village, integrate myself into the village life.
Yeah, it's a different model. So whatever you did, as many other expats or immigrants to the new country doing, you get some time to learn the language, local culture, and you trying to be part of this culture, being yourself, obviously, growing, changing. Like this trend a little bit different because mostly there are foreigners who are coming to the country from different countries using English probably as a language of communication. And what is important for them are similar ideas, which they need to prove that they're similar as well. Because, by the way, ideas, it's one aspect. How you live together with a person with these ideas, it's a different experience. And we know about collective farms, at least I know history of collective farms or communal living or even this co-living, co-working. People need to get through some experience understanding how particular it's going to work for them. And I am very interested in this emerging.
I think to be in this kind of like thing, you have to be very open minded and also be flexible enough to accept a lot of different changes that other people introduce you to. For some people hard, but really all to do is you just have to be open minded to experience. It's not for everybody. We understand that some people really the city people, some people really the mountain people. And so the best really thing to do, experience it for a while and see how you really like it. If you feel that you feel like home, then continue, contribute, and grow with it. But if you feel that you've been struggled on, then you need to really change and find different kind of groups that maybe fit you better. The eco way of sharing stuff definitely beneficial for many people. And I've seen it people in elderly, they do not have a family and they are in this eco village. Basically, whole village becomes their family, and that to me, what we're supposed to do as a human being, so is very valuable.
Intergenerational communities, it's what you say, yeah? Yeah. And I'm like my two hands for this. When it happened, if this senior person, by the way, can adjust himself to this kind of certain circle of unknown people at the beginning, to feel that it's part of his village family, actually, it's part of his life for the next chapter, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. That is very helpful because we know we are human beings. Many of us will be in our lives with no families. So having this kind of setup as a community, I think is very important and helpful. And of course, we know when we have a seniors and some seniors, they have a good working brain and they have a good life experience. They can teach a lot. They can help a lot to the younger ones. And I've seen that myself, basically. But when we look really this kind of setup as an expat, when we go move into places, I think lots of people, generally speaking, they try to find a place that is on they click. So they don't look at the actual whole picture of the whole ecosystem they are going to adapt themselves to. And they kind of a little bit like on the edge when they try to find the right kind of like situation for the expats. For example, if they are struggling as if you are an expat, and I guarantee you, you're going to struggle in many ways, be it like a law of the country that you moved in, rules of the country, the tradition of the country, the tradition of the local people where you got to move in, and as many challenges.
And lack of language in many cases. And when you're older, it's much more, I would say, devastating when you're 18, 19, trying to find. There is difficulties at every age, but when you already adult, to feel like you're a baby making your first steps, trying to explain your intention and actually what you need, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, as I traveled quite a lot of places in the world as in a kind of, let's say, one of my eyes is as an observer, and the other eyes is as an experiment and experience, gathering like journeys. I know as a living being, we are not free. We're supposed to move around and we're supposed to experience the world around us. So going different places, just don't have a really have a fear in you. Long as really you have a good heart to give and good heart to share what you know, what you have. Most communities will welcome you, especially in Europe or South America or anywhere. I personally believe, long as you go in and with no bad intention in any place, you will survive. But if you go in try to mold things the way you want, it's not going to work out. So as collective think, my own experience shows me that I never went to any place thinking, hey, I got to go there and inject my idea to these people or inject my way of life. I went there to learn their way of life. And that has been absolutely like one of the key, you could say one of the key stones that you could just trust it and always will work out. Essentially, have a really good, clean heart to go. Do not have a harm in your heart to wherever you're going to travel. It doesn't matter. Like sometimes we, as human beings, we hold the history too dear to our hearts, and that creates a conflict. The new places that we go in, and I looked at things that says, wherever you go, please leave your own family history back home and start a new life and started a new chapter for yourself without that history.
I think even we mentally can prepare ourselves with best intention to jump to the new culture to learn, we're still trees which were born on some soil and we have roots. And even we don't recognize it, maybe after living in two, three different cultures, we are product of our culture. And here I have a question I was waiting to ask you. You lived across different cultures, and all this requires adaptability, which you, I would say, succeed. You, whatever you became, it's part actually of you growing and adapting to the different cultures. How has your background, Greek heritage, it's part of us, whatever we think about it or don't think about. Your international work experience, your travel to the different places and cultures influence your personal philosophy and relationships.
Very obviously, it's a very deep question, and I will be as simple as possible. So I totally agree with you. Like we are born in a place that place you cannot really just go with a sponge and wipe out of your heart.
You don't need to, by the way.
So it's always going to stay there, exactly. But what I believe, I also wanted to experience the other, the actual other. And obviously, time permit with experience, you end up like trickling a little bit of yours to them over a period of time. And not by basically forcing people to understand you or where you come from, but really try to understanding where they're coming from, what is it like they set up as. So on the cultural sense, it's very important really to learn quite really basic stuff that culture does or accept or doesn't accept. If you just like knowing a little bit of those things before you go places is an advantage, but I really didn't know anything. I didn't have the books to study, for example, to come in Portugal, what Portuguese culture is. I wanted basically experience myself to learn the people. So when I did this stuff is about really going there and learning people, about learning how these people really interact with you and as well as with each other. Are they different interacting with you than they with each other, especially when you're a stranger just dropped into the pot, so to speak, in this very uncomfortable situation. Absolutely uncomfortable for many millions of people. And it was for me. So, really, how do we get over this is about really proving that you are there to benefit them, to not destruct them. And that's one key element, like for really survival of the cultures. And my own experience has been is about really going there and accepting them and helping them to scale that up or grow that or whatever problem you could actually help to solve that you do. If you have a good skills, you show it with your skills. You don't have to sell anything to people. You just show it. You just do it. You just basically build it so they can physically see it with their own eyes. And that's the basically one thing that I learned is important. If you go in there with already has absolutely different things in your mind, you try to do convert different things to different things, as it will become difficult because literally it is difficult. Every country that I went is not easy to get a job. It really isn't. They just doesn't exist. And also most places that I went, there is no place that you can go side of the river to forage, basically to feed yourself when you're homeless. But generally speaking, that didn't put me off. because I knew that if you can provide the true skill that you have to benefit the other without shortcutting them, without misleading them, without lying to them, and over a period of time, that proved to be a kind of good fruit between two of you and you gain trust. It really all falls down to trust.
Let's be with AI tools who are mushrooming now in every industry.
As a technologist myself, one side of me love AI and the other side of me really despise. So the side that I really love is about giving an ability to many people, which is really fits my philosophy. That side of it I really love. And the despise side is the obviously bad actor of the world utilizing to prey on the good people of the world. That side I really despise. And I really believe, as a technologist myself, every technology company who's developed AIs, they should clearly label as being produced by AI, by some sort of AI tool. So it should be labeled so that as human being, we know what is made by the human, what's made by the machine. So right now, we lost that, unfortunately. Google give up on that.
But people are losing work. What's happening now, as I agree with, even it's labeled, but it's more efficient. It can work 24/7. It doesn't need vacations, special benefits. It doesn't go to be sick.
To answer that, really, unfortunately, is very similar scenario if the businessman used to sell ice in the high street when somebody decided to invent a fridge or freezer. So, like, that's shift. Basically, we used to go to Alaska, get a
But the impact is bigger because if it's only this kind of refrigerating industry, but now it's
knows everyone. So basically, a couple of things. The danger side of the society is our younger children will grow up more dumb, more unintelligent, and more inexperienced.
even they have all this information actually coming from or ability to find information and other tools and people and communicate all over the world.
Yeah, because the dependency of the information itself is very high to this current society. Like, whole society is dependent on the information, and information itself is now being manipulated by the AI. As a human being, you really don't know what is real, what is manipulated, what is not real anymore. And because of that, our younger generations definitely will grow up with AI. Maybe right now we're just adapting to it, but next couple of generations, they will definitely grow into it. For them, they don't know anything different. And society itself, and moving away from specialization. As we have society is set up in a way that everyone is specialized in certain skills and certain things. And there's a reason for that. Everybody cannot become a brain surgeon. That's the reality. So with AI, now everybody class themselves as a brain surgeon, as a knowledgeable person, which is false entity. And we know that, like, I cannot just go into the hospital and say, I read AI, I am brain surgeon. The society moving, they destructing this specific specialization that has been put in place for a few hundred years to come to this point. So every individual is being specialized. Now that's going away. Like, they wiping that out with a
And practical experience, what it's missing, knowledge, it's not the same as practical experience, years of experience.
yeah, like that is another simulation. Obviously, when you look at the practical experience, our children will play the game. They think they are doing the real thing because they physically involved pressing buttons in their fingers. They think they are involved in something physical. So they're logically already psychologically changed. You cannot reverse that child to say, don't play the game. So as soon as you say the child, don't play the game, parents are the enemy. So what does child do? Already there's separation at home, right? So
Absolutely. It's what many parents already complaining. And when I think about post gap between us and our grandchildren, it's even bigger.
for me, AI is really double-edged sword, but it need to be controlled in a way. You got to enhance the specialization of individual and people instead of despecializing them. And AI is despecialized in all categories of business, all categories of knowledge, all categories of experience, falsifying all, rewriting all, depending on whoever's coded whatever algorithm is going to be converted to as a translator. So majority of it is, you could say, false or a plain. So we've seen that happen already with a lot of the AI stuff. I definitely look at AI as societal change to turn everybody to become a less knowledgeable and less experienced, especially with physical experience. We used to have, where myself as a child, age of 12, 13, I used to climb tree, claim the fruits. And I used to take the fruits in a basket and go side of the road and sell it to the people. So I didn't have no AI to learn. That was the physical, you could say I was special human monkey climbing a tree and collecting fruit and selling. But generally now this is all disappears. Now we could have a robot to pick that, robot to do this, robot to do the everything. If we have the robots do everything for human beings,
What we gonna do?
know what are options left for us. Let's say we have everything automated. Let's say right now I have 8 clones of myself around me and around the world doing things as a robot stuff. And then what are we doing? What are we going to do? So it's really is not the way. It's part of it we could have for sure. Part of it for safety, for productivity, for different things that we could have AI tools. But for human societies to become a specialized, we need to have a human unions of different groups, just like you do in expat stuff. So the humanity needs to change a little bit. They need to be smaller groups or villages or even towns or even whole cities. They need to get involved to be trained on specialist tasks, specialist things physically that you need to do. We really on a difficult situation in the world. Society whole is absolutely, this AI is turning like upside down whole function of society, because our children now tell the parents, oh yeah, I looked at the chat GPT told me what you're saying to me is lie.
Oh, it's nonsense. You don't understand anything.
Yeah, so literally we have the society now, our children lose respect to their parents. So that is huge. That's huge downswing for society to survive. And the other thing is AI is not going to give a birth to the human being.
Yeah. We see this zero fertility rate in Europe and in many countries.
So that side is, yeah, that side is also very difficult. I'm not scientist, but I see it visually. I've been a lot of places a few years ago. Between now and then, is big difference. Definitely, we need to have AI, good AI to utilize, to use. It's a good tool to automate certain things, but really, it's still our brain, human brain and human hand need to literally put a pen and paper down in order for us to recollect these memories forever. For example, we can give anybody a test. How many pages of ChatGPT you read, what you remember, and what you read in school, do you remember? So most people will remember what they read in school, what they wrote in the school papers when even they were a child. But with AI, you can't say, hey, you read this on ChatGPT yesterday because your memory is already overloaded, wiped out. So that's the dumbness of the society that we are facing. Nobody really mentioning about.
And you don't have time even to digest all the information or put it in perspective in correct, I would say, parts of your brain or how it works, all this connection when you experienced. And I see myself, I was really big kind of book reader from childhood. And now it's hard for me to read. People, I like big books. Like after that, like it's only small kind of, we don't have time, even with all these tools we have, which kind of make our life more comfortable. And I see it's debilitating to the small paragraph of chat gpt. Who's this chat gpt to give me, no, if it's some statistic, some, but when people are looking for, who is the best candidate for my election, and what they So you trust ChatGPT, yeah, because you don't have time to listen to the debates and read all the articles. So you trust ChatGPT asking who will vote or who should I vote. It's what people are doing. It's what I noticed. I was just overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think like for me, what I personally witnessing and experiencing is a period of this specialization of humanity.
And trust this ChatGPT knows better. ChatGPT, you don't ask your friend or several friends. It's a lot. You don't need this time. You just ChatGPT will tell you what to do, who to marry. I don't.
Yeah, to me, this kind of, let's say, informational tool as a templates or theories. Let's say it's theories. Let's say what ChatGPT just give us is a theories, not reality.
Yeah, it's how I understand it.
But our children is not going to grow up thinking that as a theory. They will think it as a real, as a truth. And when the children think of that as a truth, really, you have a hard time to convince that child later on down the road. Oh no, what you know is actually not truth. It was just a theory is written by the certain programs. For me, what I seen it's actually is deduction of the human knowledge, dilution of human knowledge that we have compiled over thousands of years now is being diluted. Like literally, you can go research anything in the Google or any websites or any place on the internet. The factual things are being wiped out, being replaced with non-factual stuff. And that's a danger because over the last 30 years of internet, we created human archives of things, human archive law of things on the internet. And unfortunately, that's all gone. Like literally being replaced with AI stuff. And you don't know what is really written by the people. And I really believe as a technologist myself, I use part of the AI myself. One side of it is absolutely we must have, but it have to be based on the true factual things, not the like misconception, mistruths, and all that kind of stuff. Have to be factual. If the lawyer wrote a piece of paper for the law and has been accepted, and the law should be like that. That's what I think of AI should go to. I did wrote some kind of white papers highlighting really the danger of the AI versus whole of society, not just like our own global thing. We've seen it like literally right now, most of the schools getting closed down. A lot of teachers going to lose jobs. Lots of lawyers going to lose jobs. Lots of specialist people.
Accountants, even developers, like developers with AI can do all this code creation and compile different pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally, like we despecialize in the special humanity, and that's dangerous. It's a big dangerous because imagine that you take somebody like me out to the farm, the farmer boy, right, and you put him in a little canoe. Tell him he's got to be the fisherman. This is the what we doing to society. We taking skill out of people's hand. We giving the skill to the tools that we say, okay, tool can do this better than you, which is we know most cases tools are definitely they can do better job. They can last longer. We all know that. But because of that excuse, we cannot despecialize whole of society, whole of humanity. Humanities always have to have a speciality installed in humanity. If it's not, what's the point having a mother and father? Like, why don't we just go and create a baby tubes, like tube babies? But because humanity has this speciality inherited, born with it, and we need that continue, we need that grow, we need that being protected. We need protect literally true human speciality.
And I think it's one of the reasons that people will try get out of big cities or kind of this specially developed countries spaces and to create eco-living kind of people who value like nature and natural development of family and communal living will create these separate intentional communities, as I say.
I think that has a big pull actually. Like lots of people, they come to the certain age, They look at themselves, they understand they were well disconnected from the Mother Earth, Mother Nature.
It's our generation. The younger generation, I don't know if like maybe minorities, they have value of this because they used to the technology, like it was a kind of nature that they adopted from the young age.
Majority of the young age of Europe, literally, they do not trust their own parents. Like majority. And European children, like you go to England, you ask 2,000 children in one group and ask every single one of them, do you trust your parents? Like they don't trust their own parents. Like that's the society. Unfortunately, I'm human being and I'm case study for humanity. And what I personally experienced, what we are going through, what would happen next, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, to be honest, 20 years time, the next generation that come on earth is not going to accept anything that we classed as a norm or normal or acceptable or even immoral. Like they will not really accept this kind of things because education is different, technology is different, information is different for them. And so literally society have a breakaway civilization scenario. So our own children will break away from elderly as we see it right now happening already. And they will have a society. Basically, if they have the money, they can buy everything. If they don't, they become the worst kind of slaves that you could imagine. So, last few hundred years, humanity's been trying hard to get rid of the slavery in one way or the other, and it's still there. But now it's just going to get even worse for the most kind of disadvantage, obviously. And as they're going to be even worse situation that really our ancestors are. And unfortunately, this is already happening. Like literally, if you look, for example, just look United States today, or look Canada, or look UK, or just look in France, or look in Spain, or look in literally any place in the world, in a planet you look at, the culture is being dismantled from the core. All cultures, not just one side, not the other, is all of them is being dismantled one way or the other. We need to have communities. We need to have a human injection of what is can be done, what is cannot be done in the groups. And Portugal definitely one of those places, least has a open mind for the communities to do this kind of things. Life doesn't suppress them. And I hope many other countries will allow this happen. And of course, we really don't know what will happen next minute as like literally current situation of our world. But don't really look at AI as the human savior. Don't look at yeah, literally. I would definitely like look at AI with caution because it has so many side effects. We ourselves maybe not going to feel it immediately, but really next 2, 3 generations definitely will feel it. And definitely, if we as adult of today allowing these things really just get out of hand,
Nobody asking us. They make a decision for us. And many people asking this question, or even Elon Musk, like year ago, was telling that we need to stop it. And what? It didn't happen. We need to have legislation, like all these correct ideas, how to keep it under moral, but competition took over. And Elon himself is one of the kind of leader of the movement.
pretty simple, right? Let's just, as a human to human, we need to ask ourselves this question. Is it okay for me to sell you poison? If it's not okay for me to sell you poison, why is it okay?
It's how you think, but other people, they think about KPI and balance sheet and how much they can achieve, and even not testing. I need to be first. That is important. I need to implement these nice features all together. Doesn't matter what quality it really provides.
That's like the analogy, really. Like if we allow our children to grow up with lie, which is most of the AI that produces is currently not based on anything fact at all. So imagine that we allow our children really grow up with lie, just like literally poisoning our children with poisoning honey jar effect type of thing. And this is what we've been doing really right now to the human knowledge. And that's dangerous. And I think like Elon Musk know the truth. That's why he was saying a few years ago, hey, this is danger. We should stop. We should slow down. We should really make sure that when it's being used, first, less allow the scientists to experiment with. Let's allow small group of individual that really importance in a human society to experiment with. Let's wait their decision. Let's see what they say in order to just release it to the mass and public. And they didn't do that kind of stuff. So we know is literally, let's say, genie's out of the bottle. So now as individually, we can run this AI models and things like that. But for production side of it, I think if it's linked to the factual stuff, I think will be great too.
People are overwhelmed, not only me, with amount of information which are coming from all kind of media and sometimes conflicting. People are confused. How do you balance staying informed and not getting overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information in today's digital world? Do you have yourself some personal rituals or practices that you follow?
Yeah, I do actually practice what I will share. Like, generally speaking, I go onto the social media. Normally, if I just go to social media, I will post and that's it. I don't read any posts unless somebody send me specifically message that attended to me, I read.
But you read comments on your post.
Yeah, comments on my post. Obviously, somebody's like interacting with me. I do that, but I don't go literally browse, spend hours. I just check it. If I get a notification, let's say you send me notification or somebody else, I check that. If it's important, I deal with it there and then. I get out of the site.
But I'm not speaking only about social media, which really consume now people's attention, like scroll, 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 so you don't have time maybe to listen to wise people. But even amount of podcasts, amount of channels, amount of books now in the digital format. How to balance?
Yeah, you have a really lot of distraction. Literally 360, you have distractions, and it is very difficult to actually not lose it, get into it, and then just lose the track of time. I personally looked into the things, what is really important this moment? What is important right now? So that's how I look at the social media, the information itself for myself. And of course, when you're watching the social media and news and everything else, you're going to get upset and just focus really what you are productive about.
If there is one trend or mindset shift you wish more people embrace in 2025, what it will be and why? Advice for our listeners.
Sure, like generally, if you are in a situation, never think that you haven't got anyone out that's not going to help you. There's always going to be somebody in the world will help you. Doesn't matter what your situation is. Just start with that point. And of course, when you try to give advice to people, I rather give a experience rather than advice. Is about really you as an individual. What is it really your dream? What is it you really want? What is it do you want to get out of your life for yourself and for others around you? If you put each point to the different category, you will have a something called what I call blinking of eye moment. So everything blinking of eye can change. And because of that, the current situation, if it's that hard, the next blink in the eye can change, become good. I really believe in that. And when you are really prepared, in a sense of you going to be in a production mode for yourself and for others, doesn't matter which part of the world you go, you will be able to do some great things. But for me, it's just really you are the value in the world, you are the matter, and you are the product of whatever it is you want to put front of the people. And if you bad label that, if you bad rap that yourself, and it's not going to work, doesn't matter what you try. Just try to really be authentic as you are. You are real life. You are authentically born, and you are authentic life. And if you keep implementing that authenticity, really, that's the big difficulty. A lot of people try to cover it up. Is not about how good you look, is really about how good is your mind is. That's how I look at it. And how good at really you can deliver that mind to benefit yourself. And generally speaking, I didn't have the good teachers in my life. I have to learn this stuff in a very hard ways. It's based on experience. If you want to become a good baker, you got to go dedicated a lot of your time in a bakery to mix the dough, and it requires hard work, and you need to do that. And for me, is everything that we do as human beings, somebody else know a little bit better than you, because somebody else out there actually done what we want to do, and is never lack of this specific step. Everything else is just that exists if you want it. Really, there is no lack of anything. And my end, I believe in really abundance of everything. Everything that we could imagine as human being is available to us. Otherwise, why would you imagine it? And so it's when you're imagining something because of something useful about that, and you imagine it and you go and experience it. I was imagining to travel around the world, meet different people. But then I realized this is actually not imagination anymore. It is actually real. I can go and experience. And that's when you convert really the imagination, the ideas that comes to you, to the real world of experience. And for me, really do not replace yourself with something hypothetical. Always replace your current self with something real in next minute or next eye blink that you could experience it yourself. So like love us get stuck in the really upset mindset when we are in a difficult situation. It is difficult. Believe me, I've been in a very difficult situation. And this sometimes this is how I stop it, basically, if anybody want to take this on board. When you're in a hard situation, you have the best tool in the world, best tool in life, and it's called breath. You simply just stop yourself 2 to 3 seconds and have a 2 to 3 deep breaths. And that's all you can switch a new key on, switch your new self on. I really believe as a human being, we get stuck in what I called the rigid avatar mode. So this is me. That's it. This is me. Like, this is me. That's the kind of claim we make. No, the truth is, this is not me. This is just me emanating. The life form that is in me is something grander than just this small body. We need to understand this. And when you blink in your eye in just 1 second and you have this calm breath in, you feel life, you feel energized, you feel that is really whatever difficult situation is, you could take care of it, get out of it and jump over that. And this is for me is like being absolutely interesting part of life, especially when you have difficult situation, difficulties. As a human being, if you long as living, you're going to have difficult situation. Believe me, that is just given. But how do we deal with them is really difficult. There is no knowledge out there written that we could learn.
Evan, as a person who reinvented your own life several times, what you would say for people stuck in a rut, whether it's in life, work, creativity, being in a hard situation, what would be the first next step you would recommend them to begin the reinvention, to start new life chapter?
Very deep question. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a couple of things. One is the fear is stopping most people, general fear. So the way to deal with the fear is literally about safety mechanism for yourself, that kind of psychological thing that we carry, which is normal. And you turn this fear to the tool instead of basically have a fear of, oh, I cannot speak to this guy or go to this place or the other or something else got to happen. Do not get stuck what if hypothesis in your head, in your mind versus reality. So reality has no fear. Literally, it does. If it rains, it's got to rain. rain. If it snows, gotta snow. So reality doesn't have fear. We create this fear because it's a safe mechanism for us, and just jump over that. Literally, there's nothing out there that's going to eat your life in the world. Literally, it's nothing. Unless you jump in a sea and a full of sharks, that's another scenario. But really, it's nothing out there in the world that's going to eat your life. And that fear stops many people. And if you just jump over that and look at it, the reality is this playing field for you to experiment things. And you should be able to really go and really survive in the world as you want, not just somebody else wants. It's about really what you want. And when we go to the different culture, first of all, imagine this. Imagine that you are the homeowner and you just suddenly had group stranger as a visitors to your home. So you are visitors to other places as like that. And as some places, they are not so hospitable. Some people, they definitely not going to be very hospitable to you.
Or maybe not open, just not open immediately as we used, me and you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The generally speaking is about really you. It's nothing to do with the world or out there or the people. It's about really you. And how can you really conquer your own fear, turn it to the valuable tool? No one gonna get rid of their fears. That is impossible. It doesn't happen. But really, how can we reuse it in a way instead of become a fear and suppresses us, depresses us, says, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You utilize it. Yes, I can do this. I can experiment this. I can experience this. And it's up to me to experience it. Like literally, you got to open yourself in new roads with your own mind, with your own thinking to get express that fear a little bit in order for you to enable yourself to do things. So it's about other thing is surviving in different culture. Surviving different culture, definitely you need to be human skilled. You need to understand human skills, yourself as well as the others. And sometimes this is difficult. You don't get teachings of this. You have to really jump into the hot end and you have to experience yourself. And literally, you got to look things that you are blind and deaf in the world when you go to the new culture. That's how you're going to feel. That's how you're going to be for a while till you slowly learn a little bit of the language, the people, the way they are. Then as things get improved. But till then, you internally go through this burn stage and fear stage. Oh, this is not for me. I cannot really make it in here. This is difficult. All that kind of scenarios you will keep playing and playing to yourself to try to disprove your situation. But really, you are there to improve your situation in the first place. So you got to use that fear really to become a good tool and good platform for you to actually experience the true reality that you're seeking. Moving to other culture, definitely, I don't see why everybody's not doing it. I hope everybody does it in the world in order to learn.
Maybe it's not for everyone. Let's be realistic. It's big stress, like generally to uproot yourself, especially if you have family, you have already some assets, I don't know, possession, you have circle of friends, family. So you need to be very curious person. You need to be fearless. Or once when I just started my kind of last life chapter and I was in Mexico, and by the way, without, sorry to interrupt you, but without language, I was doing some things, and my Mexican friend told me, like, how you don't afraid? You going here, you going then. He was looking like she's crazy. I told, I afraid, but my curiosity is bigger than my fear. Not all people, I would say, so adventurous, or maybe some other would say crazy. And people are in different situations are overwhelmed. And that's why I'm collecting stories and advices from people like you who overcome it in different countries and different situations. Because it's not my story, it's story of many different people who did it. And what I say, they did it. They bring you the authentic stories and examples so you can do it. But some people need encouragement.
Yeah, for me, it's very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's very interesting. Just like you say, sometimes you definitely have to put your curiosities a lot bigger and your wish and your imagination a lot bigger than your fear. Fear is always going to stop you, but if this other two, three powerful and notion emotions that we go through, you activate them, they become very useful. So even let's say I was really moving to the place, I was sleeping on the beach towel, my stomach's hungry, I have no food, I have no family, I have nobody. In my mind, I'm in this paradise. My stomach is really not hungry. I don't look at everybody's around me because they got things, they are my enemies. I didn't look around to say because somebody's driving a big, nice car and my stomach is empty, I got to have an animosity for this. And I was admiring, okay, if he's able to do that, I can. If he's able to do drive that, I can. You're going to make a nest for yourself. So you need to go in a mindset is like a bird migrating from one land to the other land, doesn't need anybody's permission to build a nest, right? Doesn't need anyone's permission to build that nest. In the living nature, we all have a right to have a nest because that's what living nature does. But if you're moving from your own culture to somewhere else to build that nest, there are certain things you need to tune. There's one, you need to tune your senses towards that culture. You need to tune your emotions to that culture. You need to tune your energy, living energy, to that land. You need to tune your respect and your love to this people, to that land. And if you do that, believe me, you will not have a difficulty to not create that nest for yourself. I've done it now 3 different places in my life. And the principle is this: accept who you are, not someone else.
Know yourself and know yourself.
Know yourself, exactly. Accept who you are as a living being and what is you are here to do. What is it really your ultimate goal? What is it your ultimate destination? What is it you really ultimately you want for the world to know about you or yourself or your family down the road? So, generally speaking, you are the product of the world.
Some people moving just for retirement, just to change their life.
That's a beneficial thing, right? Yeah, that's beneficial thing. So when you're moving, obviously for retirement, you are different level of life. So you are seeking tranquility, you are seeking inclusion.
Or maybe to learn new cultures, to immerse yourself, to understand better yourself. Like I would just, as how I understand, summarize how I understand this is your last answer. So in order to reinvent yourself, or what can help you reinvent yourself actually in life, professionally, when you're retiring, when you're relocating, know yourself, be curious, be fearless, and trust the life.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think don't dismiss your imagination and your instincts. They are absolutely 100% is the tool that is born with us. So your imagination, your basically gut instinct, and as well as obviously you need to grasp the places that you go in, they are new. So in order to experience the new, you need to go in there with your new self. So literally you have to renew yourself within your eye blink. You're not changing your body shape. You're not changing basically, you're not shape shifting, but you really shape shift your mind. You fit into the kind of equation what is facing you. And that's what I've been doing personally. If I'm in a difficult situation, just take a moment, just have it 2, 3 breaths and have a couple of seconds for yourself. Just settle yourself and then look at things around you. So, as an individual, you're going to pick and put things down till you find one really fit your shoes.
Some people don't have time to fit different shoes. Evan, you're full of allegories and stories, and I'm really grateful, actually, for Mario. But to give
Yeah, thank you for Mario for introducing us. I hope that we have a few more conversation like this, Emily. I really enjoy talking to you. Thank you for your time too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And today I was speaking with Evan. Remember, name Evan, and no limit emails and platform which helps people to connect, to interact with each other, and to build intentional community. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Thank you for your time.
As we bring this compelling conversation to a close, I hope you have gained as much insight and inspiration from today's episode as I have. Thank you, Evan, for not only sharing your personal stories, expertise, but also your human-first approach to business, connections, and life. Evangelos is not just a leader in email marketing. He's a builder of connections in a way that's both deeply personal and forward-thinking. His belief in uplifting others and fostering meaningful relationship is something we can all aspire to apply in our own lives, whether through our work, our connections with communities, or our personal reinvention. Stay tuned for the next episode of Age of Reinvention, ecoLiving, Expats, and Intentional Communities, where we bring you more transformative stories and impactful perspectives. And don't forget to check out Evangelos' work. You will find the links in the show notes. Until next time, live boldly, lead with intention, and never stop reinventing yourself. Continue seeking new ways to reinvent your life. Embrace the journey and live purposefully. I'm Emily Bron, wishing you all the best in your path to intentional living. Goodbye for now.